Are your children struggling to read? Here are 3 simple ways to help them. First, make sure that they know the names of all of the letters in the alphabet. Now, this is really important, and because the names will match later to sounds. Although you say, my child already knows how to do this, my kids know how to do this, that's great, but that's the first step. Next, step 2, make sure that they know that each letter stands for a sound that we can make with our mouths. Tell your children or students that the alphabet consists of 26 letters that we use to say and write every word in our language. When we learn the alphabet, we are learning the names of the letters. And this is a really important concept. The alphabet tells us that there are 44 sounds in our language that can be spoken by 26 letters. So 26 letters will help us to say all the words in our language and to write all of the words. Get them excited and say, can you imagine using just 26 letters to say millions of words and to write those words? That's right. The genius of the alphabet system is that someone discovered that all languages can be reduced to a certain number of specific sounds. The English language can be reduced to roughly 44 sounds. So all of the things we say really come from just the ability to make 44 unique sounds in our language. And those 44 sounds can be represented by 26 symbols that we call letters. So when we write a letter down, we're really writing down a symbol that matches with a sound. Well, how do we teach this to them? That sounds really complicated, right? You don't want to tell that to your kids. Well, unless they really understand that. But for the most part, kids are going to look at you like, what? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to teach them how the letter-sound correspondence works in our language by using their names. So we're going to teach them that each letter or combination of letters also stands for a sound that we can make with our mouths. In other words, each letter has a name, and each letter is also a written symbol that stands for a sound. Every word is simply a combination of letters and the sounds that those letters represent. We read every word by blending the combination of letters of sounds from left to right. So for example, if I wanted to say the word fish, okay? So the letter fish is spelled F-I-S-H, right? Those are the names of the letters. But when I want to write the word fish down, how am I going to write that? I'm going to write the letter that matches the sound of that word. So f is going to be F, I'll write F down. I is going to be I, I'll write I down. And sh is a combination of S and H. That's one sound with 2 letters. So fish has 4 letters, but really 3 sounds. And when I hear the word fish, it triggers my mind to match those letters to the sound I heard. That's the genius of the English writing system. It's an alphabet system. You say something and it triggers the mind to think of the letters that correspond with those sounds. That's the English alphabet system. Okay, so let's move on. Now, we're going to illustrate this letter-sound relationship by using the words that they are most familiar with, their own names. So you're going to start with what kids know. We're going to use what they already know about their own names to show them how to read and write every word that can be spoken. Now, by the way, if your kids can't do any of the following steps by themselves, help them. This is the perfect time to teach them how to master saying, spelling, sounding, writing, and reading their own names. So how are we going to do this? Okay, we're going to use their names to teach them letter-sound relationships. First, ask them to say their names. They can do that. Now ask them to spell their names. So my son would say Seth. That's his name. Now I say, how do you spell that name? He'll say S-E-T-H. And tell them that when they spell their names, they are using the names of the letters in the alphabet. Okay, that's how they used to. And try with your own name. Spell your own name with them. Or if they don't know your name, just say mom or dad. Okay, and mom is spelled M-O-M. I'm using the letters of the alphabet to spell my name. Now, ask them to write their names on a sheet of paper or a name tag. and tell them that when they write their names, they are simply using letters to represent or to stand for the sounds they make when they say their names. So let's say one of your kids' name is Bob. That's a great name, right? And Bob. And it's a simple name. And so we can say, okay, when you write Bob down, you are using letters that stand for the sounds you make when you say the word Bob. So Bob. Well, I'm going to write a B because that's the sound the letter B stands for. B. And I'm going to write which is like in pot. And that's the O. That's the sound that the letter O stands for. And then finally, ba, B at the end, the B is represented once again. So you really have B, O, B, but the sounds ba, ba. And Bob, when you blend those sounds together, now you have the word Bob. You see? So that's how simple our alphabet or phonetic system really is. Now tell them that if they say someone, now let's tell them that if they or someone else wants to read that name, they would have to say the sounds that the letters make by blending or connecting them together from left to right. So that's what I did with Bob, right? I had B-O-B, and that's how I spelled my name. And then how I wrote my name down was I matched letters to the sounds that I heard. The sound was Bob, and I wrote B, which is B. I wrote which is O, and I wrote B again, which is B. And so now I have Bob. And when I say all together, I blend them together. As I don't say Bob, I say Bob. Quickly, I blend those sounds together. And you're going to teach them that that's how they really learn to say their names. They would have to say the sounds that the letters make by blending or connecting them together from left to right. And everything in our language is read from left to right. This also teaches them directional discipline when they write. Everything goes from left to right. Now, tell them to read their names, or ask someone else to read their names. And then they'll hear that sound, okay? The sound in that name. Because what you're reading are the letters that stands for the sounds, but you're not reading the letters now, you're reading the sounds. Isn't that interesting? When you write down the name, like Bob, you're writing letters. When you say the name, you're saying the sounds that correspond or match to those letters. So our alphabet system, or our phonetic system, as it's called, phonics meaning sounds, right, is matching letters to sounds, and that each letter or a combination of letters makes one sound in our language. Well, and then some letters make several different sounds, but again, the key is to learn all of those sounds. Now, let's take each child's name and break it down into the sounds that the letters make. This is going to be a lot of fun. So if your daughter or your son has a long name, you can break it down into how it sounds. And you're going to show them that their names consist of sounds by helping them to sound out their names using the letter sounds from left to right. Tell them that each letter or a combination of letters in their name stands for a sound that helps someone to say that name properly when they blend or put the sounds together in the right way. That's how your children learn to say their names. They listen to the sounds that you made when you said those names. Your children didn't learn that, my name is Mary because you wrote it down on a piece of paper. They heard you say Mary, and they imitated that. But when they have to write the word Mary now, or when someone else has to spell their name, that person is going to listen to the sound of the word Mary and write down the letters M, M, A, Ri, Mary, R, that R, okay? And so you have that sound, and that Y sounds like that E at the end, right? So you have those sounds that match those letters. That's how we learn. We learn by sound, and when we write, we are writing down letters that match the sounds, okay? That's really what our system is like. It's amazing. And as I said before, 26 letters correspond to the 44 sounds that we make in our language. And with just 26 letters, we can write down every word or every sound we can make. That's amazing. Let's look at an example. My friend's name is Sam. So Sam is spelled S-A-M. I use the name of the letters S-A-M to spell the word Sam. Now, the S, though, how do I sound it out? How do I say Sam? Okay? How does that sound come out of my mouth? Well, the S stands for the last sound at the end of the word gas. So S. The A stands for the first word, the first sound in the word am, so ah. And the M stands for the last sound at the end of the word am. Not M, but okay? Now, when I blend those sounds together, what do I have? I say the word Sam. I don't say Sam. Though when I'm learning those sounds, I can say that. And it's helpful to have your children say each sound in the word first and then blend them together to say the word. So Sam is Sam. Sam. I spell Sam by using the letters, their names, S-A-M, but I sound Sam or I say Sam by sounding out those sounds that those letters make. And if I met someone from a different country who didn't know how to spell Sam, but they were learning English, and I said, my name is Sam, they would say, oh, how do I write that? Oh, I see. Sam, the sounds in that, that's S-A-M. They would take the sound I make and match it to letters on a paper. Whenever I write, I'm writing down letters that match the sounds I say. Let me say it again. Whenever we write, we are simply writing down letters, these graphic symbols, that match the sounds of the words we say. One more time. Whenever we write, we are simply writing down letters that match the sounds in the words we make. And when we say those words, we are blending those sounds together from left to right. Now, this is time to have some fun with the kids, okay? Let's see if we can take out letters and sounds and see if they can still say their names correctly. Let's take out the A in Sam. Take out the A. Drop the A and say, okay, now, can you still read the word Sam? Ask them. Can you still read the word Sam? And they'll go, no, it looks like sm. What does the word sound like now without an A or without the sound A? It sounds like sm. And by the way, this is a good time to tell them that letters like A are vowels because we have to open our mouths wide to say them. And that in English, every word must have a vowel sound. So we have the A, E, I, O, and U. Those are the names of the vowels, and they have different sounds, obviously, depending on if they're a long A, we say A, E, I, O, U. The long version of the vowel says its name. But the short vowel would say A, as in am, eh, as in egg, I, as in it, as in pot, and as in up. Okay? Those are long and short sounds. These 5 vowels represent about 20 different sounds in our language. So you can have some fun, even take words out of their own names and say, hey, if I take letters out of their names, if I took these letters out, how does your name sound? If I took out the vowels, you can't say your name. You can't say your name because you can't sound your name because the key sounds are missing. So you're showing them that the way they read their names is to say all of the sounds together as one. You're teaching them that letters and sounds have correspondence, correlations, connections in our language. That in and of itself is a powerful thing for kids to learn. Hey, you don't need a linguistic degree to do this. Use your name. Use their names. Use what they know. This is the power of teaching associatively by using what kids know to teach them what they need to know. So show them that they already have the tools now to learn how to read every word that can be written and spoken because they already know how to say, spell, write, and read their names. Remind them that the alphabet has 26 letters that stand for 44 sounds. We call these sounds phonemes. We use these letters and the sounds they represent to write and read every word we say. This letter-sound connection is what we call phonics. So the letters are symbols that stand for sounds, and when we say them, we're matching letter to sound, and phonics, right, meaning sound, like phonograph or that simply means sound, and it tells us that our alphabet system is a sound-symbol relationship. So explain to them that if they want to know how to read and write thousands of words correctly, all they would have to do is to learn and practice phonics, or the sounds that each letter or combination of letters represents, just like they've already done with their own names. Isn't that powerful? Using their name to name every other word and to really or sound out the letters in every other word. Well, for more information about reading skills or to schedule a free personalized assessment of your child's reading needs, call Scholar Skills Online Academy at 718-258-4647 or email us at scholarskills@gmail.com or visit us on the web at www.scholarskills.com. We have a great reading program for your kids. We'll partner with you to help them so that you can do it without us, okay? As we teach you to teach them, and as we help them and partner with you, eventually you'll be able to teach your children yourself. And you'll be able to do what schools have not done and are not doing, which is to teach children the alphabet system, the English alphabet system, the writing system, which is really a phonetic system. Because once your kids know how to sound out words, they will not have to memorize these thousands of sight words. They'll be able to read any word they see because they'll recognize the sounds that the letter stands for in those words.